when the entire world seemed to turn away from the truth. A man who faced kings without fear. A man whose prayers brought rain after years of drought. A man who challenged hundreds of false prophets with nothing except his faith. But the biggest mystery about Elijah is not only what he did. It is why he was chosen. Why did God select this man from among thousands? Why was Elijah given such extraordinary miracles? And why was his ending unlike almost anyone else in history? This is the hidden story of Elijah. Many years before Elijah appeared, the people of Israel had been blessed with guidance and wisdom. They had prophets who reminded them to worship only God and stay away from corruption. But over time, the nation began to change. Kings became more interested in power than justice. People started following idols and forgetting the teachings of the prophets. The worst period came during the rule of King Ahab. Ahab was a powerful king, but his heart became attached to false gods. His wife, Queen Jezebel, strongly promoted idol worship and used her influence to silence those who spoke against it. Prophets were hunted. Truth became dangerous. Many people were afraid to stand up. The nation was surrounded by fear and confusion. And during this dark time, a man from a small place called Gilead appeared. His name was Elijah. Unlike many famous leaders, Elijah did not come from a royal family. He was not a wealthy man. He did not have an army. He did not have political power. He was simply a servant of God. But he carried something stronger than any army: unbreakable faith. Elijah walked directly to King Ahab and delivered a shocking message. Because the people had turned away from God, there would be no rain for years. The land would become dry. Crops would fail. Rivers would disappear. The nation would feel the consequences of its actions. Then Elijah disappeared. The king searched for him. The people wondered where he went. But Elijah was protected. He lived away from the crowds, trusting that God would provide for him. And this was the first lesson of Elijah's life. During the drought, Elijah stayed near a small stream. Every day he depended completely on God. He had no palace, no servants, no comfort, only faith. But something incredible happened. The same God who controlled the skies provided for him. Elijah learned that before God gives someone a great mission, he often prepares them in silence. People saw only the miracles. They did not see the lonely nights. They did not see the patience. They did not see the struggle. Because true strength is usually built where nobody is watching. After some time, the stream dried up. Elijah was sent to another place where he met a poor widow. She had almost nothing left, only a small amount of flour and oil. She believed she was preparing her final meal for herself and her son. But Elijah asked her to make food for him first. To many people, this may have seemed impossible. How could someone ask for food from a person who had nothing? But Elijah was testing faith. The widow trusted the message. And then a miracle happened. The flour did not run out. The oil did not disappear. Every day there was enough. God transformed a small amount into endless blessing. This showed another secret about Elijah. He was chosen because he understood something many people forget. After years without rain, Elijah returned. The people had to face a decision. Would they continue following false gods, or return to the truth? Elijah called everyone together on Mount Carmel. Hundreds of false prophets gathered. They claimed their gods had power. Elijah stood alone, one man against hundreds. The false prophets prepared their sacrifice and called upon their gods. They shouted, they cried, they begged, but nothing happened. The sky remained silent. The sacrifice remained untouched. Then Elijah stepped forward. He repaired the forgotten altar. He prepared his offering. Then he made the challenge even harder. He poured water over everything. The wood became soaked. The sacrifice became surrounded by water. Humanly speaking, there was no way it could burn. But Elijah prayed, not with arrogance, not with pride, with complete trust. And suddenly, fire came down. The sacrifice burned. The water disappeared. Everyone witnessed the power of God. The people fell in amazement. The falsehood was exposed. And Elijah proved that truth does not need numbers. Sometimes one person with faith can stand against an entire world. But there was something surprising about Elijah. After this huge victory, he became afraid. Queen Jezebel threatened him. The same man who stood before hundreds of prophets now ran into the wilderness. He felt exhausted. He felt alone. He questioned his purpose. This part of Elijah's story is important, because even the strongest believers can experience moments of weakness. Elijah was not chosen because he never felt fear. He was chosen because he continued turning back to God. In his loneliness, Elijah received comfort. He learned that his mission was not finished. The quiet miracle. Elijah went to a mountain. He expected a great sign. Powerful wind came, then an earthquake, then fire. But the message did not come through those things. Instead, there was a gentle and quiet moment, and Elijah understood something deeper. God's power is not always shown through the loudest events. Sometimes guidance comes through silence. Sometimes the greatest transformation happens in the heart. So why Elijah? Why this man? Because Elijah had qualities that were rare. He was brave when others were afraid. He stayed faithful when society changed. He trusted when he had no resources. He spoke truth even when it was dangerous. He accepted his weakness and returned stronger. Elijah was not chosen because he was perfect. He was chosen because his heart was committed. The story of Elijah does not end like the stories of most people. One day, Elijah was traveling with his student Elisha. They crossed the land together. Elisha knew something unusual was about to happen. A special moment was coming. Suddenly, a powerful sign appeared. A heavenly vehicle of fire came between them, and Elijah was taken away. He did not experience an ordinary death. He disappeared from the world in a way that became one of the greatest mysteries of history. People continued asking, where did Elijah go? Why was he taken? What was the meaning behind his departure? Many believed it showed that God had honored a servant who remained faithful until the end. Centuries passed. Kings disappeared. Empires collapsed. But the story of Elijah remained alive, because Elijah was never remembered only for miracles. He was remembered for his courage, for standing alone, for choosing truth over comfort, for showing that one sincere person can change history. The hidden truth about Elijah is this: he was chosen not because he was the strongest man, but because he trusted the strongest power. He was chosen not because he had everything, but because he was willing to give everything. And that is why Elijah's story continues to inspire people even today. A man who walked through fear, a man who challenged darkness, a man who was chosen for a mission greater than himself. This was Elijah,